Hi guys, what is up? Welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, hi, my name is Rutvik. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I fucking love you. It is winter. Winter is here. And all I want to do is curl up with a blanket and read a book to keep me warm. And in my opinion, there is no genre better associated with winter other than mystery thrillers. And today I have a big stack to recommend to you guys. Trust me, you will find at least one, but most likely multiple books to add to your mystery TBR for this winter. I keep referencing these books as mystery thrillers, but there is like a very clear distinction in between the two. For me, mystery books are basically when there has been an event which has occurred either right now or in the past, and then a main characters go back and investigate it and just figure out who's done it and stuff like that. So these will be your typical murder mysteries, whodunits and whatnot. Thrillers, on the other hand, have an event which has just started and it's leading up to a climax in the end where the stakes are high. It risks someone's life, someone's career, someone's reputation, and not even related to the main character, or it's like a big world cataclysmic event. And those are usually books which fly by so quickly because it's just so thrilling, it's just so intense, the adrenaline levels are very high. Most of the time what happens is these books are a combination of both mystery and thriller. So you follow an event which occurred in a past, but you are facing the repercussions of it right now, and those are leading to a big climax towards the end. And usually these are my favorite books in the genre to read because they have just so much adrenaline in them. Without further talking, let's get to these recommendations. I have no particular order for these recommendations, like they're not categorized, they're not serialized. Like I'm not starting with my most favorite and moving towards my least favorite. All of these books I have read, I have loved, I've given them at least a 4.5 stars or like at least a 4 stars and above. So these books are bound to be really good for you. We're going to start off with Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. This book is like the most perfect to read during winter because this is set in Scottish Highlands during winter, so it's very snowy and it plays into the plot of the book. The plot of the book is completely ingenious. It's about Adam and Amelia, who are husband and wife, and they're heading to the Scottish Highlands to spend a weekend, and they have rented out a remote location cabin. It's actually a church, but then they've converted it into a Airbnb type of thing. Then their romantic trip takes a dark turn and they both start to wonder, can they trust the one they're with? Because every couple tells lies, but only for Adam and Amelia, the truth is far more dangerous. I read this book last year. It's actually in a vlog, and the plot twist, it's literally like when the plot twist occurs, there are literally like 5 lines on that page. I had to read that page like about 7 to 8 times just to make sense of what is happening, because the story flips completely, and I was like, my expression was like, and then I sat with that expression for like 8 to 10 minutes and just like rearranged the entire story now that we have this big plot twist. And it's very addictive, and I loved reading it so much. After that, we have is the most popular mystery thriller right now, which is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is a very easy book to read. It's very fast paced, it just flies by. I read this in about like 4 hours, and it's so easy to digest, it's so easy to understand. It's about a main character who is the housemaid, and she goes into a wealthy house to be their housemaid. When she stays there, she realizes that the family that she is working for is not the usual one. If you're new to mystery thrillers, it will be a really good book for you. But if you're like a seasoned mystery thriller reader, the plot twist and the plot itself is a bit predictable, but it still is laced with a lot of adrenaline. After that, we have is a mystery, which is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This is my favorite Agatha Christie book. Plot twist in here is just unbelievable, unimaginable, but yet it makes so much sense. Agatha Christie has crafted such a witty and such like a really intelligent tale over here. I don't want to explain the plot of it, but it's my favorite Agatha Christie book, and if you trust my recommendation, I think so you should pick this up because it is just so good. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is like my second favorite Agatha Christie book because I watched the movie before I read the book, and the book is also very ingenious. It's her most popular for a reason. So yeah, definitely if you end up loving this, you should pick this one up immediately after that. Then we have is a YA mystery, which is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I listened to this book as an audiobook. It was my first ever audiobook because the book is formatted as a podcast. Sadie is missing. Sadie has gone in the search of her little sister's killer. Then we have the other main character, which is West McRae, who is a radio personality, and then he follows Sadie's footsteps with the clues that she's left behind, and he is documenting her journey. And you also get Sadie's POV. It's very atmospheric, it's very visual, but it's YA, it's not graphic. It deals with really heavy topics, but you don't get the graphic details of them. The most importantly is that you like connect completely with Sadie because you're following her journey and you empathize with her so much. You root for her, you worry for her, and in the end, I don't want to spoil the end, but you just must read or listen to this book. After that we have is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is also a really popular mystery thriller, and Riley Sager is also a really popular thriller writer. This is set at a lake house where a main character, she has gone to just like get away from the media. She's an actress, but her husband kills himself. She wants to go and mourn him, so she is at her family's lake house. But then opposite her lake house there is another house, and a new couple has just moved in there, and she starts spying on them through her binoculars, and then she notices things that are going on in the house, and then she starts to keep watch, and then things start picking up. And I really love this book. This is one of those books where the plot just twists constantly towards the end. If you are not someone who loves that, you just want like a plain simple plot twist, I don't think so you will like this book. But if you like to be kept on your toes, this is such a really good book. Some plot twists are a bit outrageous in terms of feeling really believable, but if you believe them, it's just a really well crafted book. Like towards the end, the book twists in such a way that you just can't help but finish it in one sitting. I really love this one. I also recently read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I don't have a physical copy. I listened to it as an audiobook, and I also enjoyed that one. It's a gothic thriller where it's set in about 1900s, 1980s or 1970s. It is also really good. I was googling a character's name and I spoiled the book for myself, but even regardless of that, the part that I spoiled was just one of the plot twists, and towards the end that book also became very twisty and turny. So if you're looking for a gothic thriller about a mansion set on a cliff in Maine, then you just must pick that book up. After that we have is 2 Sherlock Holmes books. I have this book where all 4 of the main Sherlock Holmes novels are compiled. From the 4, I will recommend you guys to read A Study in Scarlet as well as The Hound of Baskervilles. A Study in Scarlet is the first Sherlock Holmes novel, and it is just so ingenious, it's so well crafted, it is just so beautifully done by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The Hound of Baskervilles is like a very dark, it's very dreary, it's very atmospheric, and it's also really well done. I really loved both of those books. I gave both of them really high ratings. Sherlock Holmes is synonymous with mystery and crime fiction, detective fiction. This, like, you must read one Sherlock Holmes novel this season. After that we have is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. It's a YA mystery. It's actually a series, and I am currently reading that series. I just finished the second book of it. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This book is one of those books which is written in a multimedia format where you just don't read prose paragraph after paragraph. It's like over here, can you guys see? It's production log, there are screenshots, there are interview transcripts and emails and photos and stuff, and it's very engaging, and the plot itself is very interesting. In this small town there was a girl who went missing. Her name was Andy Bell, and a few days later her boyfriend was charged with her murder, and he, instead of getting arrested, he committed suicide. So everybody just believed that he actually did it, and after that the case is closed. And 5 years later, our main character Pippa, she goes on into investigating this case because she feels that there are a lot of gaps in the investigation, and she does it as her senior thesis. As she goes into investigation with a friend of Sal's brother Ravi, she starts to find out that the case is actually not closed. The murderer is still very much on the loose, and she takes it upon herself to find him. It is really, really, really good. It's very interesting, it's very mysterious, it has that thrill. The plot gets thick as the pages go by, but it still has a really playful YA quality. Like every time Pippa was doing typical teenager stuff and she was talking with Ravi while they were developing affection for each other, it gave me like very giggly feelings, and for that reason it's a 5 out of 5 star book. If you are interested, you can continue on with the series. I just finished this. I gave it a 4.25 stars because I loved it, but not as much as first one. And I see you over there. You guys see, that is the third book, and I'm going to start reading it after I'm done editing this video. After that we have is Misery by Stephen King. Honestly, my favorite Stephen King book that I read. It's about our main character Paul Sheldon, who is an author. He's a very best-selling author of this series whose main character is Misery Chastain, hence the name. He meets with an accident and he's rescued by our other main character. Her name is Annie Wilkes. She's a trained nurse, but she's living in a remote cabin, and she is Misery Chastain's #1 fan, and she's Paul's #1 fan. She's not read the new book yet, but in that new book, Paul has killed Misery, and Annie's not going to like it. The plot just completely spirals. It's so bloody, it's so extreme, it's so graphic, but it is so good. The plot craft in it, the way this story was crafted, the way this story was executed was just so good. The climax is very, very, very good. The conclusion is so satisfying, and it's just so well done. I don't really vibe with Stephen King's writing style that much, but I just love how he crafts a story, how he ideates a story. And who knows, you might like his writing style, but even if you don't, just please pick this book up because I loved it a lot. Afterwards we have is one of my favorite mystery thrillers which I've read, which is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This was my first Lisa Jewell book. I was gifted this arc of it, and let me tell you, I read this book in 2 sittings because I had to sleep. It was 2 a.m. at night. Halfway through the book, I had a morning class, so otherwise I would have stayed up through the night to finish this book. It is so addictive. In this book we follow 2 women. One is Josie. She is just a regular housewife. She's fed up with her life. And then the second character is Alex, who is a really successful podcaster. She has a really hot and just like a good looking husband. She has a big house, she has 2 kids, and she has the life that Josie wants. Both of them meet by chance on their 45th birthday, so they are like birthday twins, which also plays a little factor into why they come into contact. And then Josie tells Alex that Alex should interview her on her podcast because she is about to make a big change to her life, and Alex is right now feeling very burnt out. She wants to change some things in her podcast. She's very feeling creatively drained, so she decides to take on, like, why not, like, this is something I could try. And then as they talk about Josie's life, things start happening, and then the story just gets so psychotic. And this is not one of those books where really bad, like, graphic things are happening throughout the book. They do happen towards the end, but you just see small little things that are happening and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not normal. This is not normal. You feel the book in your stomach because, like, when a character, I don't want to say who, but when they do something, it's like, oh my god, why are you doing that? Like, are you, and then you like say to the other character, like, are you not seeing what this is, what this woman is doing? And like, you get so invested in the story, and then the story just takes a completely different turn towards the end, and it's just really well executed. I would have given this a 5 out of 5 stars, but just my stomach was in a knot. I was on the verge of throwing up because of how anxious I was feeling for the characters. So that's why I decided to knock off a 0.5 stars and give it a 4.5 stars. But right now I want to go back and modify my rating and give it a 5 stars. So wild. This book is wild. Then we have is Abandoned by Blake Crouch. This is a mystery and a thriller combined in one. It's set in Abandoned, which is a mining town in Colorado. This is very wintry. It's set during in the dead of the winter. We follow two timelines. In the first timeline, on Christmas in 1893, Abandoned literally like disappears in the middle of the night. Like all of the residents just disappear. Like literally food on the table is there, the fire was burning. The next morning not a single soul was to be seen, and everybody feels like it's haunted, something must have happened. Like there's like this big ghost story about the town. And then in the current timeline we have follow our main character Abigail and her father as both of them and a few more people go into Abandon to just look into the place as a historical thing and just investigate the rumors about the town, like it's haunted or not and stuff like that. And once they reach there, after a journey, after a trek through the snow, they realize that they are not alone. So as you alternate in between timelines, you get a glimpse of what actually happened when the town disappeared in 1893, and then in the current timeline you follow like what happens with Abigail and her father as they realize they are not alone in the town. The book is really good. It's very fast paced, it's very thrilling. It's a bit dragged out at some points. Like I would suggest, like I would have expected like at least 50 less pages in the book, and then the book would have been really good. The only thing is that from this blurb which I gave you guys, it sounds as if it's a haunted town story, but it's not. And if you go into it expecting a haunted town story with like something supernatural elements to it, you will be disappointed. So keep that in your mind. After that we have is a different kind of mystery thriller, which is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is a literary thriller. It does not involve murder or something of that sort. In this we follow Athena and June. Athena is a really high profile, well established writer, and then June is her friend, but she is literally a nobody. Both of them became friends when both of them were starting their writing journey, and Athena blew up, she rose to stardom, and June did not get that much success. Athena dies in an accident and June is present over there. As she is like going through the motions of that, she founds Athena's unpublished manuscript, and then she decides to publish it as her own. Then afterwards, that manuscript, the book that she publishes, it gets a lot of success, but evidence starts to come up that June is not the author of the book, which is true. So June feels threatened, and then we discover how far exactly she will go to keep her success. And I love this book. It was very witty, it is very well written. You get like an insight into how publishing a book works, the publishing industry. It also discusses things like cancel culture, social media, how it affects authors, looks at publishing from a race point of view, because Athena is Asian and June is a white girl, and you discover things like why was Athena successful and why was not June successful. So it's a really well-rounded story. It did get a few mixed reviews where people said that R.F. Kuang was just using this book to talk back to haters, and I don't think so that is how it is, because this is my first and only R.F. Kuang book that I've read. So if I had read and followed her as an author for a while before, I would have been able to see that. But if you are new to R.F. Kuang, this book was just so well executed. The conclusion of it was not my favorite. It was like very much dropped midway type of book, like you imagine what happens after that, and that is not what I like to read. Even for that conclusion, the book was really well executed. You find yourself empathizing with June, but even though she did a really horrible thing, and that is something that has never happened before. So props to Rebecca Kuang. Why am I so sleepy? I am going to put my hair up because I am fed up of it. After that we have is Red Queen by Juan Gomez Jurado. This is a Spanish book translated into English, And over here we follow a main character called Antonia. She is very special. She has a special mind. She can solve crime without even lifting a gun. Over here it's said she does not receive visitors. That's why she really doesn't like it. When she hears unknown footsteps coming up the stairs, whoever it is, Antonia is sure that they are coming for her, and she likes that even less. It's actually one of those books which is like a goose chase, where a police officer, a detective, or just like some sort of investigator is finding someone. I don't want to give details about the plot, but it's very fast paced. It's like a well executed version of a massy thriller, like the typical thrillers you see on airport bookstores and stuff like that. I don't want to name authors, but you get what I mean. This was done very well because over here you connect with the characters a lot more. The plot is also very good. It's very well executed. It's very well crafted. Get invested in the book because you are invested in the character. The plot is good, but if I was not invested in the character, I would not have liked it that much, if it makes sense. You get Antonia's backstory, and then it's just like a very well crafted book. And I read this as a buddy reader with my friend, and both of us said the same thing. I gave it like a 4.5 stars because the adrenaline was pumping, and that is all that matters. After that we have is a total 5 out of 5 star book, which is The Mysterious Case of Alperton Angels. This is just this is such a well executed book. Like, I got this book because literally everybody on the internet was getting it, and I had the chance to get it for free, so that's why I got it. I had no idea about the author. I had no idea about the plot. I was like, the title sounds interesting. I can get it for free. Let's get it. You know, like, this is one of those things. And at that point in time, when I got it in Jan, I was getting very few books from publishers. No, like literally 1% of what I get now. So I was like, I have the chance to get this. I'm gonna get this. But I read this book in one sitting. I literally sat down at 7 p.m. and I was done at 2 a.m. at night, because the book is just so well crafted, so well executed. I'm gonna read out the entire blurb, so it's just like you have to understand. Everyone knows the sad story of the Alperton Angels, the cult who brainwashed a teenage girl and convinced her that her newborn baby was the Antichrist. Believing that they had a divine mission to kill the infant, they were only stopped when the girl came to her senses and called the police. The angels committed suicide rather than stand trial, while the mother and baby disappeared into the care system. Nearly 2 decades later, true crime author Amanda Bailey is writing a book on the angels. The Alperton baby has turned 18 and can finally be interviewed. If Amanda can find them, it will be the true crime scoop of the year and will save her flagging career. But rival author Oliver Menzies is just as smart and better connected, and is also on the baby's trail. As Amanda and Oliver are forced to collaborate, they realize that what everyone thinks they know about the angels is wrong. The truth is something much darker and stranger than they'd ever imagined. And the story of the Alperton Angels is far from over. So you hear the plot of it, it sounds interesting, but even more interesting is the way this book is set up. You turn the pages, you turn all of the interviews and like the reviews and stuff like that, turn the dedication, and then you get to this page. It says, you have a key that opens a safe deposit box. Inside is a bundle of documents, archived research material for a book that has just been published. You read it all and make a decision. Either replace the documents in the box and then throw the key where it will never be found, or take everything to the police. I love mixed multimedia format mystery books. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and this has solidified that. What this book essentially is, everything that our main character here, Amanda, everything that she's researched for the book, all of the research material, all of the newspaper clippings, the interview of people who were investigating the case at that time, everything that she's done for the book, all of the call logs with Oliver, and just everything that she's done, all of it is combined over here. And you don't get a story like a paragraph by paragraph, regular, proper, just a regularly written story. You read all of this research material, and through that you understand everything that's going on. And it is just so ingenious for me. Like, this is the first book that I've read in this format, and for me at that time it was so ingenious that I was absolutely in awe of it. And the plot of it is also really good, the plot twist was really good, and just the execution of this book was so well done. If you love reading mystery thrillers, you have to read this book, because book is engaging like no other. Like, it is so good. For that we have is Inkblood, Sister Scribe by Emma Torres, but this is a fantasy mystery book. I'm just gonna read out the plot, okay? For generations, the Calote family has guarded a collection of rare and dangerous books. Books that let a person walk through walls or borrow someone else's face. Books of magic. Books like the one that killed Esther and Joanna's father. Now Joanna lives alone in the woods of Vermont, their library's sole protector, while her sister Esther moves between countries and jobs, desperate to avoid the dangerous magic that destroyed her father's family. She's run as far as she can to a remote research base in Antarctica, where for the first time she has found love and maybe even freedom. But when dangerous runes inked in blood begin to appear at the base in Antarctica, Esther realizes that she can no longer escape her family's legacy. The long separated sisters must work together to unravel the secrets their parents kept hidden. Secrets that span centuries and continents, secrets that could cost them their lives. And I absolutely love reading this book. It was so investing. Like, the characters were amazing, the plot was very ingenious. As you moved through the plot, you were going from place to place, you were going past, present, you were switching point of views, and it was just like a very interesting read. And yeah, definitely pick this up. Then we have is The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and oh my god, this is still the fastest book that I've read in my entire life. It's a 300 and something page book, and I finished it within 3 hours. I started it at 10 a.m. and at 10 p.m. and I was done by 2:30. 2:30, not even 2:30, like 2:15. Yeah, so three and a half hours. And it is like, this book was so fast, like so fast. Over here we follow our main character Emma, who is escaping from something horrible that happened in her life, and she's living in a very isolated beach house. She's housekeeping for that, house sitting actually, and she only has her dog for the company. And she likes to read, she likes to spend time reading, she does not like to think, so that's why she just reads random knockoff novels which she finds for cheap, and she reviews them on Amazon after she's done. One day she reads a novel which is just so bad that she rates it 1 star and leaves a horrible review for it. But then the author of that book replies to her and tells her to take down the review, otherwise ... And she's like, I'm gonna be honest with myself, I'm not gonna take the book down, I'm not gonna take the review down. And then he comes for her. She's all alone, she only has her dog for the company, and stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens. It keeps you on your toes, and since there is a dog present, my main concern was, is the dog okay? And it is okay. So if you are like me, if you are worried about the dogs, you're worried about the animals, don't worry, nothing happens to them, they're fine. Read this book. It was just so fast paced. I flew through it literally, like I flew through it within 3 hours. Yeah, those are my 19 recommendations. Let me look at my shelves and see if I have a 20th one for you. Do I have a 20th one? Not really. I mean, I have good books over there, but not like, yeah, I think so. Those are all of the books that I have for you guys. But I'm also gonna leave you guys with my mystery TBR, which I am going to read this winter, so in December, in Jan. The Maid by Nita Prose and its sequel, The Mystery Guest. And then we have How to Kill Your Family, Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and its sequel, Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I want to read both of those really popular thriller books. So yeah, then we have Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, Billy Summers by Stephen King, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. Yeah, those are all of the books which I want to read. I know you guys found more than one recommendation for your TBR. So yeah, that is it for this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what is your favorite mystery book, and subscribe for more videos coming very soon.